Previously on Legends of Aelos, the adventurers ready their weapons as they stand before three crystalline arachnids, an icy shimmer reflecting off their chitin from what light that penetrates the fog. Briar is quick to throw up a flame wall that encompasses one of the creatures, but the flames prove to be far less effective than what one would have hoped. The first arachnid that attacks shows another oddity as it shoots out an icy spike from its abdomen rather than silk towards Cole. Fortunately, the monk intercepts the projectile and, focusing his will, he flings it back at its point of origin. Meanwhile, the spider initially encircled speeds through the inferno and lunges towards Cole as well, he unable to intercept its projectile along with the prior, and the barb sets a deep chill into Cole's bones, slowing his actions and proving to the party that these will be a challenge to fell. The third attacks Aurelia in much the same fashion as Cole, herself being slowed by its chill, despite her innate immunities to frost. When it rushes in to attack with its mandibles, however, it experiences another reaction from the party, this time from Karun, as he lunges outward with his glaive. As the weapon strikes with its first blow in combat, the farrier unleashes a surge of radiant energy that detonates at the point of contact. This magical damage doing appreciably more than fire, proving that their resistances are limited. Along with this, he blesses the party so that their strikes are more precise and their evasion swifter. Still, as these initial blows fall, the creatures prove that they are strong and tenacious, as the rest of the party proceeds to fight for their lives. Rowan's boots prove to be beneficial as always, though the lick of his flame tongue is equally as ineffective as Briar's spell. Asher's necrotic spell, however, has a similar impact as Karun's radiant strike. The party keeps chipping away at their assailants, and eventually the third closes the gap, this time approaching Asher. They clash back and forth, at one point Asher smashing down into the earth, the tremor hitting the arachnid's butt, also causing some fissures to form in the thick ice, some stretching down to the liquid surface deep below. Karun is able to heal the whole party, but is only able to attack defensively as a result, and still, Asher goes down for a moment in the fight. Their perseverance pays off though, when Cole manages to fell one finally, his lightning spear flung into its mandibles, and Rowan follows up with another kill from a surging blow. The party converges on the third spider, and Cole delivers the final blow with another streaking bolt that is his spear. They take a few moments to loot these creatures, the large frost gems embedded within their crystalline skulls being of particular interest as the fog begins to settle in thick once again. They continue their trek across the ice until they eventually see more glows in the distance, this time luminous blue objects. The party contemplates evasion, but eventually the fog parts for a moment, revealing humanoid figures garbed much more like hunters or nomads. It is apparent that they are aware of the party's presence, so Bree approaches them in a friendly introduction. Their dwarven-looking leader, Murdoch, responds in kind and inquires if the party is aware of the storm approaching, before extending an invitation for them to join his group at their current camp. The six are leery, but also aware of the potency of the storms, along with how much the previous encounter took out of them. With their discerning eyes and deeper insight into Murdoch from Karun, they determine that there is no inherent ill will, merely an understanding of the lethality of exposure in the deep north. The six follow them back to their camp, a cave seemingly formed by a cresting wave frozen in place. Inside, the group find reprieve from the harsh exterior, though the camp itself is simple and ad hoc. As they settle in, they converse, firstly talking on what they know of the north and the mountain, eventually discovering from Murdoch that they are miners of sorts, currently excavating a ruin that this cave is the mouth to. The party discusses further on how Murdoch and his men would deal with the Von Mien, providing them cold crystals before their sudden cessation in visits. This crystal could potentially be contained within this very ruin. However, it is likely in a place that the miners currently cannot and will not tread, they having already lost many to the threats within. Murdoch petitions for their assistance, though still being relatively somber in his disposition. Still, the party agrees to assist them, even with Murdoch turning down the request from Rowan for them to assist in guiding the party to the Von Mine. The crystal alone will have to suffice. After talking for a good while, the groups separate and the party establishes an area for themselves that Bree occupies with her tiny hut. Inside, they converse, Asher posing to Forum about what they think of Murdoch and his crew, and what the nature of this place might actually be. Ultimately, the collective opinion is to err on the side of caution, cooperate, but keep at arm's length, and be ever vigilant within the ice-entombed structure beneath them, as not even the excavators truly know what lies in the deeper, darker corners of the submerged temple. Perhaps it is an ancient curse or vile beast, or perhaps it is something moved by the hidden hand of the dark figure that freed Asher Asterion. And does it have something to do with what happened to Aurelia's people? Whatever it might be, the party knows they must be prepared, as Asher and Karun imbue Cole's ring with new spells before they rest, to recover from what had happened to them today, and prepare for what they might encounter in the day to come. As they wake, they start with a final few preparatory actions before seeking Murdoch before they begin their delve downwards. Aurelia presses a final inquisition of Murdoch, trying to gauge the dwarf's motivations. To it, she gleans that his motivations might be by greed for gold, but nothing that the dwarf hasn't been upfront about. With the party ahead of Murdoch and his miners, the front row mining for traps and dangers, with Bree warging into a bat to provide echolocation in the dark. They traverse the expanse of the room to a doorway where Murdoch states that this is the furthest they've cleared. From here on out, they will be the pickaxe, while the party will be the sword. And it is from here we shall continue the story of the Legends of Aelos.